Along Interstate 65. Mike Seidel joining us now. Mike, I know you're well to the right of the projected track, but how bad is it out there in that right front quadrant?
Well, it's certainly not as bad as over in Biloxi and Pascagoula. Of course, they're along the coast. They have the surge issues. But we just found out that a lot of downtown Mobile is underwater. Mobile Bay has backed up into the downtown area. The Battlefield Memorial Parkway is underwater. That whole area around the USS Alabama is flooded. That was expected. They flooded out during George and also during Frederick. Frederick right now holds the top on a surge of 12 to 13 feet, even higher than Camille. Camille was a smaller storm geographically than this one. So we've got flooding. Tanker moored up. Again, we don't know if any oil leaked into the river or the bay at this point. 10 is shut down there, and also the causeway. I'm sure that's underwater, and all those businesses are going to come back to, if it's anything like they've seen in the past with Camille and Frederick, they may not. Well, obviously, they won't be able to open. There's going to be a lot of water damage. That whole area gets inundated, and the water breaches from the river over towards the bay. Let's take a look now. We've seen some corrugated aluminum get blown off this Ford dealership. We saw that happen between shots. So far, the Regent's Bank, we don't see any windows blown out there. Some of these gusts had to be over 80 miles an hour because I can barely stand up when we get hit hard. Let's look back over here again. The wraparound billboard has been ripped to shreds. Looking now back down towards 85. One lone car coming at us. I'm sorry, I-65 coming at us. There's the flag hanging in there. And again, get a look at the swaying power lines. We had one line over there arc about 3 hours ago, and it sounded like an explosion. It was just one little arc of a power line. But since then, we haven't seen any flashes. As you can imagine, the power is out across a wide area. Then I guess you can get a sense when those winds get up above 60 miles an hour, you can just hear the wind howling through these telephone poles. Let's take a, whoa, let's turn back around here. Oh, gosh, I tell you what, it stings. It's like a sleet storm in the wintertime. We'll look back, and I don't see anything else down there that's blowing our way. But again, these telephone poles are wavering. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those. And once again, Heather Marshall, we're just hanging out and waiting to see how much longer this lasts. You know, several more hours. But this is the worst of it. I don't know if you can hear the wind howling, but it is just ripping through here, right up I-65. And again, just found out that downtown Mobile has had some serious flooding. Water is deep as a couple of feet. And Bill and Kelly, I apologize. I forgot there was a shift change. I lost track of all time. I know it's daytime, and I think it's Monday.
Hey, Mike, I think you just said that the downtown Mobile area was flooded. How far are you from that area?
We're about 7 miles. It's about 3 miles to I-10, and then about 4 or 5 miles and change, don't quote me, down to Mobile and the tunnels. The tunnels are shut down, obviously. They closed those down. They're concerned about surge. And so we're far enough away. We were there yesterday, and we said, hey, Dr. Steve was predicting. And with that kind of surge, flooding was expected as far west as Broad Street. That's about a mile inland, and all the hotels down there would be in that flood-prone area. We didn't want to take a chance on ourselves and our satellite truck. That's the only way we can get pictures out. So we've got our truck protected. We can spin around one more time. Bill and Kelly and Shay, you can see our truck dish there, and we've backed the truck up against this Hampton Inn. That's given us superior protection. Even with wind gusts over 80 miles an hour, you may see a few what we call digital hits in the business. My picture may freeze up at times. My audio continues. But other than that, we've been so far so good. I thought that when I came over here, I said I'm going to get every live shot out of here. I thought it was going to be a pipe dream, but we've been fortunate so far as another squall comes ripping up I-65. I can't believe some of these signs are holding this. They're well constructed. Bill, Kelly.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you, Mike Seidel. We'll be back to you. Stay safe there. Put it in perspective here. He's about 80 miles, Kelly, to the east-northeast of that eastern eye wall, and confirmation nearby, 84-mile-per-hour wind in the past hour at the downtown Mobile airport.
You know who's been a little bit closer to the actual eye itself is Jeff Morrow, and he filed this report from Covington, Mississippi just a short while ago.
Just when you think Hurricane Katrina is just about over with, it throws another huge batch of wind and rain at you. We're still getting some very, very strong northerly winds on the western side of the eye as it passes by about 50 to 60 miles to our east from what we can tell. Again, the ground kind of littered with debris behind me. Some trees have been knocked over. Across the way there is a Home Depot. We're going to walk here a little bit as much as I can and try to give you some perspective of what we're dealing with here. Again, let's look down here. You can see how the trees have just completely got blown over. And again, if I start running here, it's because the wind's kind of helping me along here just a little bit. Again, branches snapped off and pushed along, and this tree's been uprooted here beside us. And a bigger tree across the way over toward the Comfort Inn has also come down and snapped in half there. Again, this has been going on for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. And again, until we can finally get that eye to continue to move inland, it's going to continue to be strong here. I guess it will slowly wind down as we head on through the afternoon. But again, we're still getting pounded here by the western side and supposedly the weakest side of Katrina. Again, just pounding, pelting rain. It's going to be a little while before we can completely get out and about and assess all the damage. Jeff Morrow reporting from Covington, Louisiana.
Wow, and that is supposedly in the weaker side of the storm. Again, Jeff Morrow reporting from Covington, Louisiana, right near landfall.
Kelly, right now about 6 counties in Mississippi under a tornado warning, and Dr. Forbes is here, our severe weather expert. And Dr. Forbes, I know these storms are racing northeast. Where are they headed next?
Well, we're going to have 2 types of tornadoes today. The ones that are in these eye wall bands, the little swirls spin up very quickly. Then in thunderstorms that form out in the sunnier skies out on the fringe, additional tornadoes. Right now, they're all in these bands. Very quick circulations develop there as they push across the eastern half, the southeastern quarter of Mississippi. Now let's switch sources. We'll see the additional threat. If we can go to Weather Pro 3, we'll see the additional threat for, here we go. This morning we could have additional bands form off to the east, farther to the east in some of the sunny skies and some of these rain bands. And then before the evening is out, get into the early nighttime hours, we could have tornadoes develop across the parts of Alabama, up into the Birmingham area, perhaps even as far east as the Atlanta area and up into the Chattanooga area by evening. As very strong winds aloft and then the afternoon heating lets things get quite unstable. You see partly cloudy skies, some sun breaking through over across Georgia and eastern parts of Alabama. Then we have just the very strong winds and the rain bands coming across western Alabama, eastern Mississippi. So any of these areas, intense cores of some of the storms could certainly spin up tornadoes. We've had now 1 report. Then we'll have for many days the inland very heavy rains and some flooding with that. This core here, 4 to 8 inches. This is a pretty big storm. It's moving pretty quickly, but it's a little bit wider than average. So that is going to give a lot of rain, 10 to 12 inches down in some of the southern areas within 100 miles of where it makes landfall as well. Here's some of the timing. We're seeing that heavy rain now pushing across these southern states. By tomorrow, it comes up into northern Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and then it begins to accelerate a little bit up into the High Valley, western Pennsylvania as we get on into the Wednesday period. There could be local flooding along a lot of these areas. Of course, the heaviest flooding going to be down in the Gulf Coast states. We have also, of course, a wind threat looking for structural damage at least. A lot of roof damage up at least into the Hattiesburg area, perhaps just east of Jackson, and perhaps some damage even all the way up into the Columbus, Mississippi area in that core right in the eye wall there. And then winds strong enough to cause power outages in this dark blue area all the way up by Wednesday, perhaps still in spots up into the Cleveland-Pittsburgh area. In thunderstorms, of course, we could have some damaging winds off to the east of that in these light blue areas. So destruction right in the coastal areas, but widespread problems spreading for days farther off toward the north and east. Bill and Kelly?
Greg, that was a wide area you were just showing us for that tornado threat. So even the outer bands, the outermost band, could be capable of tornadoes, is what you're saying? That's
right, and that was just through tomorrow, through today. Tomorrow we'll have some tornado threat up in parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, and perhaps even a little bit farther north than that.
All right, staying busy around here, that's for sure.
That energy is going to be around a good while, Kelly, as it comes on in and spins on down slowly. I want to take you now back into Mississippi, and I understand Jim Cantori has been scrambling all morning out there in the Gulfport area.
I think he joins us now over the phone. Jim, how are you holding up out there?
Well, we're doing okay out here, guys. Of course, now it's just not me holding up. It's the crew, and we're obviously a big part of the over 500 United States veterans that are out here at the retirement home here in Gulfport, Mississippi. So what we've been doing is trying to get medications. We've been trying to get wheelchairs. We've been trying to get everything we can, bedding up to higher ground and get it out of harm's way. And that's, the good news is we've done that. We've accomplished that. Everybody's off the first floor right now, but as I look out this window, I'm in complete amazement. I mean, think about what it's like, guys, in the fall when a tree is completely defoliated. Now, of course, as you know, it's August, and we're talking about trees that should have leaves on them and covered with leaves. They've been stripped of their leaves because of the wind. Huge branches broken off. I see the trash cans floating by. I see dumpsters floating by. Occasionally, a top of a car. There is at least 10 feet of water surrounding this building right now. And to let you know, preliminarily when we were thinking about using this area, we knew that we were sitting at 27 feet above sea level. So do the math. And the kind of flooding that we're dealt with the casinos on the coast, everyone who lived right on the beach with their homes, their businesses, have got to be completely underwater right now and taking on tremendous wave action from this particular storm. We're still on the east side of it. I mean, we got due south winds right now, Bill, and it's howling so bad out there that the building is breathing.
Jim, I have a question for you. Is still there?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to know exactly how far off of the beach are you, and is there wave action with that very high water, too?
We're going to get the answer to that question coming up next.
Hurricane Katrina makes landfall. Stay with us for the latest in-depth analysis, live reports from the field, weather experts, meteorologists, and hurricane hunters telling you what's happening, why it's happening, and what's next. The Weather Channel, Hurricane Central. The Weather Channel, Hurricane Central. Coming up, the latest on Katrina. But now, you're local on the 8s.